dodging life's strays. Climbing out the gutter, I am real like the frame. Wrapped in shadow, but they shine like noon. For hearts beating.
All right, welcome back to season 1, episode 17. We have a very special guest with us, John Cameron. He is a mental health therapist. And so let's introduce yourself here, John, what you do, where you're from, and we'll get into the conversation of how men ultimately, how depression looks in Black men.
Oh man, thanks to my name is John Cameron. I'm a mental health therapist. I am advocate for men, former educator. I'm in private practice. I work with men, helping them understand depression, anxiety. Do workshops for anger management, conflict res, just fatherhood and manhood conflict workshops we do with men. I also work with young men in regards to anger management, and I have a gun intervention program for pre and adjudicated boys, because I worked in an adjudicated facility for a long time. And I'm just thankful just to be here for 58 years and to be able to support men, because I feel like as men, we need that support so we can become better fathers, better husbands, better sons.
And I think that you're doing a really good service to men around the world. We really do appreciate. We need more Black therapists in the world, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. So tell us a little bit more about the adjudicated processes of what you do. What's going on with that one?
So I have a program called Triggering Change, Empowering Youth to End Gun Violence. So it's a program that I use. I go into facilities and we work with young men about just changing their mindset. I can't stop them from going back to where they're going, but we can change the concept of the mindset of why do you need a gun, things that will happen if you carry a gun, besides it being if you're not of age. So we do a 10-week program that's focused on mindfulness, restorative practice, cognitive behavioral therapy, and we do a lot of worksheets and just going back and forth with the young men in regards to just gun intervention. We have worksheets on. I do a questionnaire, a pre and a post questionnaire as well. And the program is strong. We've done it in about 3 facilities now. So it's just a little bit over a year old. And the goal is the young men will get certificates. We get them T-shirts, Trigger and Change T-shirts, and they can use that now as far as when they go to court, as far as maybe delaying a sentence or just showing that they're aware. And the goal for the program is to become a court-appointed program where kids can actually hear. You have to go to the Trigger and Change program to as far as your probation and things like that.
And I think that's really good. I never, like, out of all my guesses, I never had any guests that actually help people with teaching them how to learn how to use a gun. Is that what you're getting at?
No, I'm teaching them how to make better decisions besides getting a gun. That's besides we use the conflict resolution piece. Don's from the east side, you from the west side. It's territorial things. We run into each other. How can we peacefully deal with each other?
Without the violence and the gun.
Without the violence. Because like I said, they're under 18, so they shouldn't have a gun anyway. So we talk about, and then we also talk about dealing with anger, because a lot of the young men, this is back stuff. This is a lot of frustration, anger from the past, growing up, things like that. So we deal with we're going to rebuild you. So that's my goal. We're going to rebuild you. So by the time you get ready to get out time, you'll be doing other things. We also connect you with our program to help you find a job or just whatever. If you're into, you think that you may want to get into engineering, or you might want to be a mechanic, we're going to find some tools to get you where you need to be.
That's really good.
Yeah, we got to divert you from the thoughts of wanting a gun.
And you're doing a good service. I really do appreciate what you're doing, because a lot of times Black men, when we talk on Black crime, that's the first thing they want to go to is the gun and start killing each other. But it's good to learn how to fight with your hand using a gun. And I commend any therapist that teaches them strategies of how to work out their differences and stuff like that. Why do you think there's so much violence? Before we get into the topic of depression, why do you think there's so much Black crime?
Our areas are underserved. They're just underserved, from our stores to nutrition to just services through mental health service. We're not served like we should just because we live in the so-called hood. The support is not there. Being a former educator is tough. I don't think we were equipped with enough tools to really help kids who maybe learned different than other kids. So the anger and black boys are suspended faster than any other race in the country. Boys struggle academically. It's not they struggle academically, it's that their learning styles are different between boys and girls. So the traditional learning style really doesn't work for a boy. So then he becomes behavior problem. Now he's special ed, ADHD, and now we got medication, and then we got a whole bunch of other stuff going on.
And speaking of medication, I think for the Black community, there's a lot of mental health issues, mentally ill people, that the first thing psychiatrists or therapists wants to do is assign them medication. But from my experience, sometimes I feel like the medication makes it worse for people.
True.
Speak on that.
Some medication has side effects that they don't talk about, which is thoughts of depression, thoughts of suicide, low sex drive, low energy, weight gain, fluid gain. There's a lot of issues with your eyes. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen. So before I even talk about medication to parents, I talk about, hey, let's talk about nutrition and diet. Let's talk about setting up boundaries in the home, setting up goals daily, weekly. For example, cleaning your room. Like your kid who may be really hyper, just say, listen, just pick up your socks first. After you pick up your socks, then grab your underwear first. So you break it down strategically for the kid. Some kids, they'll go in their room and it's so consumed, they don't know where to start. But if you do small things like that, and we got to go back to parenting, that's a whole nother issue. But we got to work on phones and that dopamine and all that kind of stuff.
And so now we can get into the conversation of how depression looks in Black men.
Okay.
Because I know personally, years ago, I was really suicidal. I didn't want to talk to a therapist because that stigma of talking.
Oh yeah. You're crazy.
Talking to someone not manly, or we have to just solve our own problems. But at first, I was really hesitant about seeing a therapist to handle my depression, because what would that session look like? Will they heal me? All these anxiety thoughts of just meeting people in general just clouded my judgment of, should I go or should I go? And I didn't have a lot of support system either, in terms of friends to kind of say, man, that's good. It's good that you're working on your mental, because we didn't talk about this 10, 15 years ago. That was non-existent.
Yes, sir.
And when I think about men and their depression, it's really silent. We don't say it. We don't say, man, I'm depressed today. We don't say, I need help. It's more like we act out our emotions.
Yes.
So if we are depressed, we might take it out on our girlfriend, or we might take it on our spouse, or we might take it out on the world instead of learning to heal within. So what made you want to get into being a therapist? Were you going through depression yourself, or you just saw?
It's funny. I think mine was more of an anxiety issue, and my anxiety looked different. I was always on the go, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. And then when I finally got into the counseling therapy, because it was forced on me while I was working on my master's, and my professor was like, everybody getting a therapist in here. And I remember looking at her like, oh, and she said, and you 2 Black guys, oh, y'all getting a therapist, like it or not. And so she was literally part of my class. And then that's when I found out that I was depressed. My mother had just passed, so I was going through it, but I was working and staying busy, not trying to think about it. So I was thinking about I was dealing with anxiety and depression at the same time. I was married young, and the expectations was high. And then we were trying to get a house, take care of our children. So it was a lot. I do text that every man, it's definitely who's on this listening, go get a full blood test, blood makeup, everything. Go to your doctor and say, I want a full makeup, because there's levels in your blood system that'll tell you if you're depressed. All that stuff, you get your blood checked, and there's certain deficiencies that's linked to depression. And so I'm just asking you, just get a full blood makeup. Don't be afraid, just to see where you're going. Now, also, we all know depression can be hereditary as well. But most men, especially that look like us, the depression hits us societal-wise. in regards we can feel beat down, we feel broken, but we can't talk to nobody. So, like I said, we'll lash out, we'll become angry, we'll find vices. Marijuana. I have a lot of my clients, they smoke a lot of marijuana, and they said it makes them feel good. And I say, well, if it make you feel good, how come you can't stop? And they can't stop it. And then they tell me they just have to smoke more because they felt better smoking one blunt, but now they got to smoke two. So it's just a mask. It's not covering your depression. We talk about how men, they'll just shut down. Women say, how come you won't talk to me? A lot of times they're overwhelmed and depressed. And I ask men now, from now on, if you can't talk, text your significant other. Hey, I had a bad day. Well, I'm having a bad day right now. It's nothing towards you, but I just need a moment to myself. And it's okay to be to yourself, but when you're to yourself too long, then that's a problem. Like I said, if depression looks at us, we may overdrink. Instead of a woman might eat, we may go to the alcohol, and we'll overdo the alcohol.
And another look of how some Black men cope with depression is like, for me, I would pretend like I'm happy.
And that's the mastermind, and that's what I worry about our culture, because we'll smile and say, "Oh, I'm good," and we're not good. And I want men to work on say, "Today's a tough day for me," and you don't have to go into why. Just today was a tough day for me. And I think we as men, we're put at a point where we're not supposed to be sad, we're not supposed to be cry. We're supposed to be the lion in the jungle at all times. That's not true. I'm saying, and so what we had to do is start working on communicating, taking better care of ourselves, physically and emotionally, better care of ourselves. That means watching our diet, watching the processed foods that we put in our body. I hate to go back to the alcohol. I'm at the age where a lot of my friends like to smoke cigars, and that's not good neither. Cigars, the marijuana, the total isolation. And I remember I told you we talked about being the man cave. That's where men are struggling the most. They're down in that man cave. They're not really watching the Eagles, or they're masking their emotions. They're worrying about the light bill, the gas bill. Am I going to get a raise? Should I go back to school? How am I perceived by my family? Am I being a real man? Things like that. So we have to get out and just really, I tell men, do the best you can with what you have. And if it's something that you don't have, be okay to say, I don't have it.
And when you talk about men with depression, I think there's the stigma of just not being able to express the thoughts that they don't know how to communicate in their own mind. Yep. They might not be able to use the right terminology or the words to express what they're feeling. Because 9 times out of 10, if we're talking about Black men in general, some of them barely might even finish high school, or let alone college.
And that's why I told men, when I'm dealing with you, give me one word to describe how you feel. If you say I'm sad, I know you're depressed. I don't need a big word. I'm sad. I'm just sad.
Right.
I'm just sad. I don't I know. And if you say I'm sad, if you tell your girl you sad, she know what that means. What she know if you say I'm sad today, but it's hard for us to say that word.
And that's another part that a lot of people don't understand. Their significant others may not always be this best support system.
Right.
Because there's this stereotype about us that Black men ain't shit. We won't never be anything. It's all of this. The world's already against us. The last thing we need is our significant other to when we come home and talk more down on us. And some men don't get that support from their own family members or support system. So what do they need to do in that situation?
Now, this is what I tell men. Victor, I know it sounds cold, but you picked her. And you have to decide if this is the healthiest thing for you. As a man, sometimes married men or men who's in long relationships, we'll consume her and not consume what we need to be dealing with. And we'll flip it, and it'll flip it as if we're the problem. I would suggest, having to sit down, going to counseling, working out how we feel about each other. Just don't be taking no beating just to be taking a beating. I also ask men, tell me why you chose her. What's the reason behind that? Did she remind you of somebody? What unique qualities does she have? was something that you're concerned about that you see now. And that's where you guys need to become. And if you're dealing with somebody who's mature enough, they're willing to talk to you. And they're willing to say, hey, you know what? I see that too. If they're not, you got to move on.
Mhm.
That's the problem that we have as men. We don't move on. We get stuck. And I'm not promoting divorce, but you have to understand you chose this person. And why did you choose this person? And if you did choose this person and this is who you're going to run with, y'all work on fixing how you're going to fix this.
Do you think, let me ask you this question, do you think most men choose women? Well, it's probably an easy answer, to be honest, because most people do. The first thing you do is see the looks.
Of course,
You look
with
good-
visual
you look-
preach.
But you have to look a little deeper within
Mm-hmm.
that human being that you're going to be picking.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be superficial. She got a big ass, titties, stuff
Mhm.
like that. It's has to be on a spiritual level that you two can build each other up, because there has to be more than just the looks and the sex.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be something like that's going to be long term there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see about her? What do you notice
Right. That
what
was
she can do to provide for you? How
I
can
can-
she build you up? And I think most men don't. That's where they go wrong. They
I
don't.
run ahead. And that's why I tell young men, look at some qualities. It don't have to be like I've told a young guy, you met somebody. I said, listen, go get some coffee first. You ain't got to go to whatever fancy. Say, listen, why don't we just have some coffee and let's just talk and have a conversation with her.
Hmm.
Believe me, couple conversations, that'll tell you who you're dealing with. If y'all having coffee, or she said, oh, I ain't doing coffee, you're dealing with a superficial person. I don't even know you. Like, if you tell me you can't have no coffee or some flavor,
She's-
you're here for the wrong reason. If you guys go out and she on a texting and phone, she texting all day, the whole time you out, she there for the wrong reasons. Men got to start picking better too. But like I said, just the small things, just having conversation. I give my guys 5 questions to ask her, 5 questions, and just to see what are you looking for in a man. How would you describe yourself as a woman? What does a good relationship look like?
And are you emotionally healed yourself?
Right. You attended counseling. Do you think you need counseling? What's some stuff that have you ever suffered from? Depression, anxiety, those type of things. Have a little, just some conversations as you meet the person.
Because if she never suffered from depression, I would be worried. That means she's not for me. She's never going to be able to relate to problems when I have them.
Mhm.
So that's an easy indicator that we don't need to go any further. I think a lot of people put on a facade and they try to be their best version when you're first dating them.
It's
And
the mask.
then it becomes the problem when you're in the relationship and you start to reveal your true self, and then where'd that come from?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to you talking to me that way,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm not used to you saying things in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
You was not the same person as I first met you.
Yeah.
So there's that disconnect.
Yeah. That's what I call when the mask comes off.
And I think that a lot of men, it's good that we're learning about how to get healed.
Mhm.
We're learning how to be more aware of our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, and that's very good and all. But what would you say to a man that maybe has been battling with depression their whole life, and they're taking all of these medications that the therapist or the psychiatrist is prescribing them, but they're not seeing any difference? So, can depression really be a long-term mental illness for the
It
rest
can
of
be
your life?
long term, but you can manage it. Anything can be long, but you can manage it. I do tell people the greatest thing that really slows depression down is movement. I know it sounds crazy, but the more you move, the more you're planning and you're doing things like what you got your shows, the more depression gets behind you instead of in front of you.
Because the worst thing you can do is be alone and have nothing to do. That's
And
when
you have
it
nothing.
comes right at you. Full speed.
Find something to do every day. Something that makes you feel good. Find something to do every day. And spend time with family and friends. So the isolation piece will go down. You're going to isolate sometime. I'm an Aquarius, so I mentally need time to isolate. That's just who I am. But you'll be isolating and you'll be in a better space. And keep that support system with you. Hey guys, listen, y'all. Man, I'm feeling down today. I need some uplift. Listen,
And I
listen.
think,
Go ahead.
and now let's talk about some solutions to depression before we wrap up today.
Okay.
So I know therapy is one of them. Having a good support system, exercising, eating right,
Mhm.
even journaling is another one
Mhm.
because that helps you to really figure out what's going on, how
Mhm.
you feeling mentally. You can write words down how you're feeling. I'm sad.
Mhm.
Really be reflective of your life, man, because no one's gonna come and save you, and you can't have people around you 24/7 just to mask that
Exactly.
depression. Because I notice a lot of people, like you say, they have vices that keep them busy so they don't have to worry about the depression. That's
Um,
really causing a downfall, right? You can't
Another
have.
thing is positive affirmations too. Wake up in the morning and give yourself some positive affirmation. I am loved. I am somebody. Saying that stuff will help you. And like I said, just trying to just focus on a healthy lifestyle. Or is it going to be perfect? No, 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 no. You're going to have some ups and downs. It's just certain, like I said, with depression, it's like this. If you go through something and you're down for a week or two, that's one thing. But when it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, a month, you have to worry. Don't beat yourself up if something is not going right. I heard Cat Williams say a while back, if you can list all the tough stuff you've been through, you are blessed. And you live through it. And it sounds simple, but he made a lot of sense. I look at divorce and homelessness and all the stuff I went through, and I can write about it and talk about it, and I'm still here talking to you. I'm
Mhm.
grateful.
But most men did not get through it. They killed themselves.
That's why the suicide rate is getting higher. And like I said, because that loneliness piece that we have, we got a feeling that there's nobody we can talk to. There's nobody there for us. And that starts young when you don't cry, suck it up. And you like, oh snap. And then you walk through that life of don't cry, suck it up. And that's like one of the beginnings because boys ain't supposed to cry. You better not cry. I'm gonna beat you if you cry. And that starts to develop. But there is support. There are people. And that's the part we got to start. And now there are advocates. It is there for us. We have to seek it too.
And we gotta want to change. That's another
And
thing.
that's the
Like,
other piece.
don't keep wallowing in the depression.
You gotta
Mm.
want to, and that's why I said movement is important because you get. Sometime I will tell some of my clients, I think you enjoy, you like that feeling. You got to unlike that feeling now, because
Mm.
that's sometimes depression is our comfort zone, and it's not the comfort zone. It's really holding us back from being the kings and doing the great things that we should be doing.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Well,
we have something.
yeah. Well, that's all the time we have today, John. I really do appreciate this conversation because I think it's needed in the Black community in general, regardless of even if you are a man or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many stigmas in the world, or the Black people feel like the world is against them right now,
Mm-hmm.
especially under the president that we're currently under. It's so much uncertainty. There's so much thoughts of anxiety, thoughts of
Mm-hmm.
depression, thoughts of should I keep even continuing to get up and just keep breathing? Those all the thoughts that some Black men might be going through because the world is just really not good right now.
It's not good.
What would you say to those men that's
Don't
thinking of that?
listen. Don't give up hope. History has shown that we are resilient people. History has shown that no matter what, if you from 60 years ago, we've always moved forward, even through the suppressed and most difficult times. All the greatest inventors were of that looked like us. We're not going to stop, even with this person that's in office. He's not going to hold us back. We're going to keep on going forward and don't get caught up in the things you hear. Stay off the internet. Stay off the internet and keep going for your goals and keep supporting your family and keep loving yourself. Love yourself first. That is not selfish. Love yourself first. If you love yourself first, you'll be the best father, husband, son that you can be. It's like going on the airplane. I tell my clients when they tell you that if the oxygen mask drops, put yours on first, then tend to your children. There's a reason behind that. Because if you pass out, how you gonna help your child? Put your oxygen mask on first and become a great, and so you can do what you got to do.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today, John. But I do thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Duran. Thank you. Thank you very much.
This is a much needed conversation in the Black community. I'll let you know. This video won't be going out for a little while because it has some other guests that came up before you, and I wanted to keep it going every week. So
I got you. And just because I'm online, so if anybody's interested in therapy, go to Psychology Day, look me up.
Mm-hmm.
And
definitely got some brothers.
And I can whatever majority insurances I take, and I love to help you if I can.
All right. Have a good day, John.
Peace, my brother.
You too.
Fight, dodging like strays, climbing out the gut. I am real like the fray. Wrapped in shadow, but they shine like noon. For hearts beating, sync with the